Prepare your creativity for a journey of a Planko lifetime. I proudly present to you all, codename Project Planko. Hey yo, my Planet Coaster friends, Johnny5 Alive here, and welcome to a new series on this channel that will be driven by the creativity of this very community. We, as a community, will come together to build the ultimate Planko-themed Planet Coaster theme park. The soul and essence of this park is to finish what Frontier started by further fleshing out the mascots, characters, story, lore, and designs of Frontier's original characters and charm built into Planet Coaster. We are taking what has already been done and stretching it further, taking what wasn't fully fleshed out and fleshing it out ourselves. But how will we achieve that, you might ask? And step number one would be the wonderful wild unicorn Chant has come out of the wild to prepare us the most incredible reimaginings of the Planko mascots and characters. And even cooler, she has invented characters that do not currently exist in Planet Coaster, such as bringing a mascot and face to the World's Fair shops and regions from around the world. One example would be we finally have a face for Levensept Bakery, and of course, representing France. We have a sushi ball for Heya Sushi and Japan. A Mexican man for Burrito Bonanza, representing Mexico. Many of these characters still need to be named, and we definitely want to leave that open to the community for help. We need backstories and lore. Where we can add it, we will. But we are fully fleshing out the entire list of Planet Coaster characters that may have not existed or already exist. Step 2, our wonderful design lead and technical artist, Batch, will be taking all of Chant's drawings and turning them into Theme Maker Toolkit shapes to be placed on buildings, rides, shops, and roller coasters that are associated to our reimagined Planet Coaster characters, allowing you to truly bring these characters to life in your creations. Step 3, you may remember such amazing parks from the wonderful artist and band, The Bitter Elegance. Here's an example.
Congratulations! We made it! At the very top! We're a hat for the park! Get your pictures now before we gently float to the bottom.
We might be off sync a little.
What does this button do? Whoa!
No! For over a year now, I have been alluding to this being a big inspiration to me, and thus the sole inspiration for me coming up with this very project. I am proud to announce that Channel 5 Gaming is in partnership with the artists and band members of The Bitter Elegance. My channel has full rights and permissions to use their entire music library of over 50 songs on this YouTube platform. It just so happens their music is perfectly designed for a family-friendly Planko theme park. I'd like to give one example. Imagine riding a spinning coaster through a sci-fi cosmic land that represents the one and only Cosmic Cow, while the coaster's song track is I Gotta Bounce from The Bitter Elegance. This is one of many perfectly fitting songs to our wonderful Planko cast, and I'm excited to share more of these ideas with you in the future. For now, if you would like to speculate further, a full playlist of the Bitter Elegance music is on Spotify and is linked in the description below. Please listen to their music and get inspired while you help us build the most Planko-inspired theme park of all time. Step 4, these talented artists of the Bitter Elegance are also voice actors and will be giving a voice, lore, backstory, and more to select characters of our reimagined Planko verse. So where music may not fit, we will tell a story in its place.
Hello, my loyal subjects. I am Princess Amelie of Plankonia. Welcome aboard your magic cat, where you will experience all of my favorite obscure fairy tales.
So hopefully you are excited by now. But before I can show you how you get to be involved in this creative process, I would like to share with you our creative process of getting to this point. Stage 1 was coming up with a very rudimentary design, which included a wonderland of fantasy, a jungle frontier for adventure, cosmic kingdom for sci-fi, a western area, a spooky area, a Planko city that holds all the different World's Fair locations around the world, and a Planko main street. Stage 2, we blocked out that plan into Planet Coaster. Stage 3, we mapped out the main central area. Stage 4, we mapped out the surrounding areas, all very gray block and work in progress, mind you. Stage 5, fine-tuning the main attractions and building blocks for the main area. And stage 6, a complete intricate block out ready for the community's participation. And that is where we are today. So now that you've seen the process, let me dive into game so I can give you a first-hand park tour, a park spotlight, if you will, and show you how you get started to help us create this wonderful Planko theme park. Okay, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Park Spotlight. We're going off the script from here on out. I have nothing prepared or written, and I'm just going to explain things to the best of my ability. But before we can get started, I want to give a big shout out to Cody Bits, who has made for us our massive centerpiece King Coaster. You can't have a Planko theme park without the king himself up front and center as a centerpiece to the entirety of the theme park. And Warmgar has even made it so that a coaster goes all the way around periodically the backside of the king himself. Absolutely incredible design there. Also, getting things up and running, we had Warmgar construct the very center of the city. He helped plan out this traffic system, how the pathways would work, how the guests are going to walk on all of these sidewalks, as well as how the go-kart track is going to drive down the streets, as well as how the Chief Beef Coaster is going to have a duel with the Pizza Bandit Coaster, and how that's going to actually work, where they're driving up and down the streets, dueling around the city, going in and out of buildings, into subway systems, sewer systems, back alleys, and all that good stuff. So there you can see one popping out of the hatch right there, and then back into the hatch. Here comes the Chief Beef. He's chasing them into the sewer systems. They go. Where's he coming from? He's knocking over some police cars. All of this crazy stuff was brought to you by the wonderful Warmgar. He also set up the monorail system here and fleshed out the building blocks. The basic layout to that of which we see here was also fleshed out by Warmgar. From there, we passed it over to Batch, who not only blocked out the land for us originally, and this is very, very, very gray blockish. If you're wondering what these borders are, we just wanted to make sure that they were no bigger than some of our previous contests. Basically, our first mini park contest, some of these areas are really, really small, and we want to keep things tight. Why? Because we don't want a Candyland 2.0, but we had scope creep. So what ended up happening here, we had the city center fleshed out by Warmgar with the assistance of Batch, and then Batch went in and helped fine-tune what I had set as the World's Fair contest, and we'll talk more about the contest later, in the surrounding areas. Then also adding in more building variation to create little areas for us to build in, and just fine-tuning how the walkthrough is going to work, how the spacing is going to work, and how that's all going to come together. Batch did an absolutely wonderful job with planning this out and being a lead level designer on the project. So massive props to both Warmgar, Batch, and Cody Bits for their participation so far. And of course, Zayfor's been in the behind the scenes helping us with documentation and such like that, and many other people that are gotten a little bit of a glimpse at what's going on, looking at the documents, reviewing the documents, and helping us plan along the way. So if anybody got their hands on this and I did not mention them, my apologies, but I just wanted to give everybody a little bit of know-how on what's going on here. So as you saw at the top of the video, I did describe that this will eventually have ideally more areas than what we just see here. The current phase 1 of the project is to build the city center. This is very reminiscent of Sublime's who did Plankoville. If you were a participant on Plankoville, or you remember seeing the park spotlight that we did on it, this is very similar. So give a shout out to Sublime's, as he has created a very good format for this type of project, and we definitely took inspiration from that there. So in today's video, we will be focusing on what's going on in the Central City, but I do want you guys to be aware that while this area only has 2 dueling coasters, a go-kart, and then there will be 4 flat rides, that does not seem to be a lot of attractions for a theme park. Well, we don't really want a whole lot of coasters going through the city and that sort of thing, but we do want this to eventually become a theme park. And that's where these further areas are going to come into. As mentioned, we don't want it to be a Candyland, so we're going to shrink the scope because we had scope creep here. So when we get to the Fantasyland, there'll likely be a smaller plaza area. We'll be including things like Missy Goods, Princess Amelie, Fantastic Hatter, Captain Lockjaw, and then trying to build mainly rides around those characters and shops, but not so much a gigantic fantasy land like you would see from a Candyland project. And here we'll have a small adventure area where our Renee Fu takes place, possibly something for Gulpy, Miss Ellie over in our western area, probably a shooting ride of sorts, and King Ghoster, a spooky ride, maybe a Horror Heights. And then over here we'll have a sci-fi land with a Cosmic Cow and Dex R style rides as well. But we're going to try to keep the scope a little bit smaller, and where the big participation is going to come in, and what we need your help in the meantime before we even look to the future of those other areas and try to build up too much expectations and hope. Let's try to set the bar a little bit low for now and see if we can actually accomplish what we have set out here today in this central area. And what I have for you guys is over 80 plots. What is a plot? Here's a building right here. This is a Main Street restaurant with a limitation of 1,000 pieces, no TMTK allowed. It must have a restaurant of your choosing, roofed seating on the street, and it has to be in the style of Planko. What is a Planko style? The most underused style that I've been begging people to use for years. This. They have examples in game. These were actually designed by Frontier themselves, and I am one of the few people that have decided to build with this style myself, and I built a go-kart with 2,000 pieces back when the game had a 2K limitation, and I did this for the Frontier go-kart contest. It is obstructed. Anyways, it's floating. You guys could take a look at it there. This is my Channel 5 Gaming go-karts. The idea here is we got the nice hard oak wood with the vinyl roofing, or the metal roofing with the vinyl blue siding, the vinyl trim, and you layer the wood on one side and the blue on the other with the vinyl trim, and then you get this style exactly. And if you need an example of that, Frontier has done a fantastic job of doing that here. The colors are already predetermined in the Frontier examples. We're going with this blue and that darker blue and this wood trim, and you have to kind of see how you can make things work in the Main Street using this style and this style alone. So when choosing to build here in this yellow area, it will all be done in that style. This would be one plot. Somebody gets to assign this out and build this building in the Planko style with these recommendations and that sort of thing, and they have to build a restaurant. That is an example of one plot. There are 80 of them or so. With that said, I cannot simply go over every single one of them in this video here today. So what's going to happen is this file is going to be publicly presented on my workshop, meaning you could subscribe to this very park, download it yourself, and in fact, that is our requirements. If you are building this building here, we want you to know that, hey, there is a minimum height restriction. Well, maybe not this one. Yeah, this one. It has a minimum height and a maximum height, and you should be following these guidelines. You know that it's going to butt up to another building, so you don't want to build it too big, you don't want to build it too small, you don't want to build it too short, and you don't want to go too high. You should be basically putting this off to the side so you have your rules, or do however you want to do it, and build within this little plot. And then when you take all of that and you're done, you can select it all and upload that blueprint and submit that blueprint, and I will make a video showcasing it, reviewing it, and placing it in. The wonderful Zay4 has organized for us a plan, and there will be a Project Planko chat room in Discord. I forgot to mention, you have to be a Discord member to participate. So if you're watching this on YouTube and you're like, I want to participate, I'm going to download this park and start working on something. If you're not in Discord, you will not be able to sign your name on something. So now that you know how it works, let me give you the grand tour. This is Main Street, as mentioned, Planko style. We have some very much hero buildings throughout this area of the park. Things like this is actually one that I've signed out. This is a Club Channel 5 Gaming. It's a nightclub. I'm going to be working on that one. We have a theater here. We have all sorts of cool stuff. I'll let you guys poke around and actually look at what's going on. I'll just give you the gist of things. This here is our World's Fair France area, and you'll come in. All these buildings on the surrounding are French building pieces. So you have to have the World's Fair DLC, and you have to use the French building pieces that come with the game. And we get over to here. This is our Little Italy. We have a little bit of height here, a little bit of crampiness in the alleyways, and we will be doing a full Italian area. Over here, we have our little Germany, bit of an Alpine Bavarian style build over there. We have our Moroccan area, our Spain, our little Mexico, our little Chinatown, which includes both Chinese and Japanese designs because we have the chow mein and the heiya sushi. And then finally, the big city. All of the blue blocks that you see here are going to be city styled. You can interpret that however you want, but generally speaking, you know, a lot of cities have a lot of different build styles. As long as you're not building, you know, French, Italian, German, or whatever these other buildings are around the sides, and you're sticking to general downtown city style builds, that's what these will be comprised of. Now, these big pink things are our hero builds. These are going to be for Masters Plus, and they are big projects. We have a Pizza Planet. You can go buck wild with this. We have a Chief Beef, and both of these are coaster stations, restaurants, and in this case, probably even an arcade, a Pizza Planet. And this is a cop facility, a cop shop. Plus, it sells burgers, I guess. Whatever you could think of. We have our hot dog squad over here on this side. We have a gigantic Foxy Racing go-kart stadium that has to include a coffee shop and boarding station to our go-kart circuit. And back here, right next to the go-kart circuit, we have a Just Ribbon biker bar. So probably a good idea if the two builders here collaborate together to make one giant cohesive area, but that is the requirement there. This little pink building here is a mini hero piece. It's going to be a sugary emporium that must include toilets. We have some more mini hero pieces like a Looney Balloons over here. This here is a secret. I will inform you guys what that is later, but this is a massive plaza area. There are a few little niche things that we need done. Like if you look over here, this is a construction site. If somebody's good at building cranes and rubble and debris and that sort of thing, we really want the right person for the right job. And if you feel like you can tackle a construction site where this coaster goes through, we would love to have you take this one out. So it's up to you to kind of go in here, have a gander, take a look at what's available. We have a sheet that lists them all out. So maybe instead of looking at them building by building in game, you could just look through the list and see what you read, because it will say, okay, this is a city style and it's a building 16 or whatever. If you want to see what that building looks like in game, you have to roughly build it to this size and shape. So these ones are kind of set in stone, but these ones in the front all have variations. You can build this high, you can build this low, you know, it intercepts with another building, so you're really only building the back side and the front side and then the top. You don't really have to worry about the sides of the buildings as much, but you have to build it nice and snug in there. And this one just so happens to include a Gulpy building. So some little things there. And we also have these little tiny little parks. So if you feel like doing something a little bit more environmental, we have parks there as well. And last but not least, what are the big purple things? What are the big purple things? Channel 5 Gaming has a big history. Not only is this a park for Planet Coaster, Planko, but this is also a Channel 5 Gaming community project. So obviously we want to have Easter eggs of Channel 5 Gaming stuff in there as well. But the core of this community, and year to year, we have always done contests. So these big purple pads here, the front four specifically, are contest number 1. I'm not going to give too much of the rules and regulations. I don't want people to sneakily get started here. But what I will say is you will have a chance to compete in a World's Fair contest related to these characters and their restaurants. And the winner of each of these, voted by the community, the best of the best, will be immortalized as the centerpiece for this area. Each of the contest winners go here. And let's say you don't win the contest, you fell short, you got second, your thing's not in there, you still got a feature, you still have your blueprint on the workshop, you'll still get prizes and all that good stuff, but you'll still get another shot at redemption. in these bigger areas. And these are sort of like mini parks. And like I said, I'll go over the rules and regulations for them later. They also are including characters, but they also include rides. They might be little flat rides. They might be little coasters. They might be little track rides. We'll give the information when we get there. Like I said, I don't want people trying to get a head start on things, but they will be World's Fair themed. And those winners of this contest will also be immortalized. By winning the contest, you will be in the park right there in those plots. So not only do we have 80-something plots for you guys to site out and get building, we also have 2 massive contests for you to participate in at some point coming up in the future. We are currently still developing the characters and the TMTK that go with these contests, as well as for the Main Street entrance. If you're interested in building the Planko Main Street entrance that's going to have all of the characters plastered on there, please do communicate that interest with us. We want a master or better doing it, but we are going to have to include all the characters which are still under development. So that will be something that we'll have to do near the end, but I would love to have somebody at least start playing around with what that's going to look like. And last but not least, in traditional sense, this is a park spotlight after all. I just want to give you guys a look at what Warmguard did here. This is absolutely incredible. We have fully immersive roaming traffic down below that go through tunnelways, come from tunnelways, all sorts of cool stuff. Still some unpolished things. We need some help designing some sewerways and things like that. It's pretty cool. Up above, we have the go-karts going through the streets. Obviously, we can't test them out until we have guests in the park, and all of these sidewalks are fully interactable for the guests. And in the places where they can't cross the street because we have a go-kart in the way, we do have underground tunnels and network systems for the guests to get from one side to the other. So absolutely fantastic job. Plus we have a monorail going above, and this is one of the things I've always envisioned for Planet Coaster. I always wanted to see 2 coasters dueling through the streets and merging with traffic. I wanted to see traffic in a city also have a monorail going up above and go-karts racing through the streets, and that was all accomplished by the wonderful Warmgar, seeing my vision come to reality, to fruition, or if you will. And there's some crazy stuff here. I'm not going to show you the coasters here today. Obviously, if you download the park, there's nothing stopping you from just riding the coasters yourself. If you're going to do that, I suggest you stop the coaster train and redo it, because there might be some collisions. But we're not going to showcase the coasters today because we are in production for voice acting them currently. They are going to be fully voice narrated rides between the chief and the pizza. So we want to save that as a surprise for you guys. Plus, you know, riding the coasters, there's nothing to look at. It's just a bunch of blocks. So we want to present the full immersive experience to you guys. Once the city's complete, the voice acting should be done. We attach that to the ride and we can actually experience the dueling coasters. And the go-karts, we will have a Bitter Elegant song attached to that. So we'll have some music jamming out for that. And those will be our like kind of 2 main attractions for the city area. Plus you guys will be building our flat rides in a future contest here. Holy good googly moogly. Now I'm sure I missed some important information along the way. There will be a Project Planko room where we'll have a whole discussion, open community discussion, where you guys could go back and forth asking questions. And I'm sure along the way, Zafor is going to want to help us come up with a frequently asked questions document, and we'll have that somewhere in there as well. So if you're showing up a little bit late to the party, then just go check out the frequently asked questions, see what's going on in Discord, and there will be a sign out sheet obviously in the Project Planko room, most likely pinned at the top of the room, and you can find the sign out sheet there. Open up the park as well. We'll have a link to the park in the description below. You can open it up and start looking at some of these buildings and finding out what inspires you the most. And my final thoughts there is please, please, please take and sign out what is the most inspiring thing to you, the thing that you're most passionate about, and keep at the forefront of your mind Planko. And we're going to try to bring the Planko universe to life. So we don't want to see your references to other games or other projects or anything like that. We want this all to stay within the Planko verse. And if we manage to get all of this done and the contest complete and final polish in, there will be a stage 2 of this project looking into the future of some of these other other areas that are more focused around lore of characters, storytelling, and obviously coasters and rides. And last but not least, as your creations are coming in one by one, I will be making small 5-10 minute videos reviewing them, placing them in, seeing how they fit, and showcasing them to the wonderful YouTube audience. And we will see this slowly develop over the coming months. So even if you're a viewer, you have something to look forward to, and you can see how this slowly becomes from a gray block to a fully immersive Planko land. Some things we still need a name for the park, we still need name for characters, and this is all the fun little things that are going to come up that you'll probably only get to see on Discord. So as we start to develop some of these character names, park names, things like that, you guys get to all be a part of that discussion here on Discord. And I did that intentionally because we want the community to feel as involved as anything and help shape the direction of this park. We just want to set down the foundation for you guys, and you can help us build from there. Boom, there it is, ladies and gentlemen. I present to you Project Planko. I hope you're all excited. This has been a long time coming. I've been super excited to present this to you guys, and it's finally out, and I cannot wait to see what you guys do. I'm going to participate myself. I'm just super excited. So get in Discord, get opening the park up, figure out what inspires you most, and get to building as a community. Boom, there it is, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you for your future participation, and I will see you all in the next Project Planko update video. Bye now.